All right, there we go. So I'm now recording, and just for the sake of whoever else might watch the video, would you mind restating your question?
I'm just having a little trouble understanding how to replace the nylon word with climbing in different situations.
Okay, and that's a great question. So what I'm going to do, Janae, is one or two different things here, and I'm going to share my screen before I start showing you a few things, all right?
Okay.
Okay, so I've got a great big huge screen. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right. One of these days I'm going to actually have to spend some time on here seeing if I can figure out how to make this a little bit smaller, but oh well. For right now, I just want to point out a couple of items. So the first item is over here in the discussion board. I'm going to go to this week. Let's see, am I in the right place? Yes, I am. Okay. So here's the week 3 discussion board. And I believe it's this one right here that Melanie asked. So I'm going to open this and just double check to make sure it is. Yes. Okay, so notice that Melanie has asked pretty much the same question that that you're asking, where she says, in Enhancement 2, it's item number 3, where you're writing the SQL statement. How do I use one query to accomplish both of these things? And then Andy makes reference here to the fact that he used the replace function within the query. Melanie, again, comes back and says, how do you do that? I then came back and said, look at the link in the enhancement, and then in the document that it points to, there are some references. So the discussion board is a great place to at least kind of peruse to see if someone else has already asked the question. But that's okay. You've asked the same question, so let's go look at this. So going back over here to the content, and then coming back to Enhancement 2, and then scrolling down. So here are, the area on writing the SQL statements. Here's item number 3. This is exactly what you're asking about. So this is the link that I referred them to. And so if we click that link, it should open a new tab for us. And there's lots of data here, but we're interested in how do I use a replace function in an update statement. And so if we scroll down, you'll notice that here we have an update that's a little bit different than kind of what we're doing, but this one is a lot closer. And so if we were to look at this particular example, it tells us that we're updating. It tells us, in this case, authors is the name of the table. Set is a keyword that we have to use in an update statement. And here's where we have to identify, in this case, city is the field name. And then we say equals, and in the replace function, again, this is a duplicate. This is the same field name that you see here on the left. Salt is the item that we want to change, and Olympic is what we want to change it with. And so it goes looking for anything that starts with salt, and it replaces it with the word Olympic. Now, in the query that I'm asking you to write, we have two that we want to change. Because again, it tells us that we're looking for nylon rope, not just the word nylon sitting all by itself. And so if we look back over here at our example, instead of looking for just salt, we would instead look for nylon rope. And then here, we would tell it what we want to change that particular combination to be. And in our case, it would be climbing rope. So you can put whatever you want to between these quotes. It doesn't have to be a single word. It could be an entire phrase. And then the other part that this particular page doesn't show is if I want to do two of these, I would just put a comma here at the end, and on the next line, I would put the name of the second field equals, and then whatever I want to look for and change it to. And so this document does a pretty good job of giving us some examples, but we still have to make it fit our situation. How's that for an answer, Janae?
That's pretty good, thanks.
Does that kind of give you a direction to head in?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Based on that, do you have any follow-up questions or do you need further clarification?
I don't know.
Okay. So do you think that's enough to get you going?
Yes.
Great. Glad to hear that. And we've got a couple of other people who have joined us. Hi, Lisa, and hi, Danielle.
Hey, Brother Robertson.
Hello.
Glad you've joined Janae and myself. So how are the two of you this evening?
I'm good. I'm running a little behind in my work, but I'm good.
I'm doing well. I was at work, so sorry I couldn't join earlier.
Oh, that's fine. No problem at all. We went ahead and got started with Janae's question, and I am recording all of this, so whatever we talk about will be in the video, and like I said in my announcement this morning, I'll make the video available for anyone to watch that wants to.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I'm still sharing my screen. I'm going to go ahead and stop that share. There we go. So now it's just us seeing one another. Did either of you bring questions that you'd like to ask that I can try to answer for you?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, Daniela.
So I was working on enhancement 2, and I have questions about number 3. I guess, let's see. Sorry, I cannot see what I'm doing right now. But, sorry, just a second. Maybe Lisa has ready.
I don't yet.
You're not yet, okay.
And just to throw this out there, Daniela, that's exactly what Janae and I were just talking about.
About number 3?
The query number 3?
Yes.
Yep, that's exactly what we just went over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I feel like number 1 and 2 are fairly easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, number 3, I was a little bit confused.
Daniela and I are in the same group, so we're already talking together. So.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me just throw this out there. One of the very best teaching techniques that exists is someone who's had a question, you attempt to answer it for that individual, and then when someone else asks the same question, you ask the first one to teach the second one. And what that does is it helps reinforce it in their mind because they have to kind of run back through it in order to share it with the other individual. Janae, do you want to try that?
Well, right now.
Sure.
Okay.
And you'll notice down at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there should be a button where you can share your screen if you wanted to bring that up and kind of run through that again with Daniela.
Okay. Let me. All right, let's see. Okay, can you see my screen?
It's coming.
It's coming, yeah. Okay.
There it is. Perfect.
Okay. So, it's a lot of pressure. So basically we're going to open up the same article that we were looking at together earlier, Daniela,
Mhm.
the replace function right here. So let me go to that.
And are these SQL statements being written in NetBeans? Is that correct?
So they are, from what I understand, you need to type them on the PHP My Admin
Okay.
and under the SQL tab, and then you have to copy that code into a text document.
Okay. That's where I was getting lost. How to store them.
So I mean that that folder, what is it called? Whatever folder it is stored in your Acme, folder, but it's not
The
using
SQL
a
folder?
PHP file, right?
Okay.
So Daniela, do you understand like the replace by itself within the update or no?
Well, let's see. So you have the city, which is the field, right? So
That's the field.
the field, and then the first value would be replace that field where salt is a value and replace it with Olympic.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm guessing where you're having trouble is the next part, like how to do another field within the same query or another place. Because that's what I was asking.
And to be honest, I was looking through it, but it says modify the nylon rope, and I don't know where that nylon rope is. Like, what is that?
Oh, so if you go into your local host and go to like
should be under inventory, I imagine. Yes, it's number 15 on inventory.
So if you just click into the inventory table, you can scroll to the bottom and it has it right here. I had already changed climbing rope, but that says nylon rope initially.
I see.
And so that's just how I knew where it was, what I was dealing with.
I see. So let's see. Let me go to the enhancement. So it says modify the nylon rope record to read climbing rope using a single query. So that's with the replace thing. And then the change must change all instances of nylon rope to climbing rope in the record. Okay. Also be sure that the env name field maintains its capital letter. Okay, so you're supposed to use just one single query to both modify every instance of nylon rope and then maintain the inventory name? Let's see. Well, ignore the word now. Yeah, I guess that I don't understand that part.
So
And all of the so I was reading. I don't think I finished reading the side point material,
oh, okay.
but I read most of it.
So basically for that part, we're just going to be using that, or not basically, but if you read this, it'll help you understand the replace. But it sounds like you understand what the replace is.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so that would replace one of the fields, nylon to climbing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanted to do it in another field, you could, instead of putting a semicolon here, we could put a comma, and on the next line, do another replace, just like that, but in the new field and with the new terms.
Oh.
And,
So,
sorry, go ahead.
like there's a second code. It says a more common approach is to use this in conjunction with the where clause. So I was looking at a presentation today, and they talked about the where clause, how it specifies that it's that specific field. Like, for example, when you want to delete something, you do the where, so it specifically delete that one statement, right? So,
Right.
for example, in this code here where it says where city like salt, what does that mean?
I will have to step off at that point. I don't know.
Okay.
Because I looked up the where clause, but I'm not exactly sure what the like meant. I hadn't gotten that far, so.
Okay. No, that's fine.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and chime in here. The where clause is a limiter. It simply says, instead of doing this to everything, I want to limit it to something smaller than everything. And so you'll notice that when Janae was showing us her browse mode of the entire inventory table, that particular item that you're running with has a inv ID of 15.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want this update to be limited to just that item, then the where clause would say something like where inv ID equals 15. So all of the changes that you're trying to make will only happen in that row. And it won't even attempt to interact with anything else in the table.
Okay.
I use this example in my campus classes. And so what I'm about to say may or may not make sense, depending upon if you've never been on campus or not. But if you go over to the cashier's office to pay a bill, or better yet, to get paid, what they do is they ask you for your student card or your employee card. And the reason they want that card is they scan it, and what's actually embedded on that card is your I number. And what that does is it says, whatever transaction we are about to do, whether I'm taking money or giving money, it's limited to this person.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the where clause does.
Okay.
So what does the like
Well,
do in condition to that?
Yeah, in this case, don't worry about like. That's a little advanced for where we're at right now. We will actually use it later in the semester. But all it is, it's kind of a wildcard character. It allows SQL to not be locked into a specific pattern, but it's more fuzzy logic. It can be similar to this. and again, that's a little more advanced than we are right now. It just happens to be what in their example.
Mm. So, for example, when in bullet point 3, it says, let's see, the change must change all instances of nylon rope to climbing rope in the record. So, should we do, like, for example, where, I don't know what field is, but where that field equals climbing rope or like nylon rope?
No, not in the where clause. The where clause, again, is our limiter. And so the where clause would just be something like where inv ID equals 15. And then the replace functions are going to be used to identify which specific fields within that record we want to make our changes to.
I see. So the where is more for like the rows.
Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly right.
Okay. That is good to know. And then could you explain the part where it says also be sure that the inf name field maintains its capital letter? So would it be okay? I'm gonna go to my local host because I'm not being able to visualize what that is.
Sure. Once you're there, share your screen so that way it's part of the recording as well.
Okay. Very good. Mhm. Okay. Okay. Are you able to see it?
I am.
Okay. So I have my Acme database and I have 3 tables.
Yeah.
And let's see. It says the change must change all instances of nylon rope to climbing. Also be sure that the inf name field maintains its capital letter. Okay. So it's going to be under inventory, I assume.
Yeah. Click browse.
Oh,
Well, that works too. We're good.
okay. Okay, so we have inf ID, inf name, inf description, inf image, inf thumbnail, inf price, and stock and size. Okay. And we are looking for inf name?
We are, but again, only for the record that talks about nylon rope.
Okay, so that would be number 15.
There it is.
Okay. So I need to change nylon rope for climbing rope
Yep.
and make sure that it maintains its capital letter.
Only in that field. Because you'll notice right next to it in the description field,
It's not capitalized.
it's not capitalized.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Can I ask a quick question about your files over on the left of your file tree? I only have 2 on mine. I have categories and inventories. Is client something that we create as part of this assignment, or am I missing it somehow?
Yes. No, you're not missing it. It's part of the, there's a link. If you go to
Okay.
let me show you. Okay, so you go to week 3 and then go to your overview, or yeah, you can go to your overview.
We can't see what you're looking at, Daniela.
Oh.
If you use the window that you're actually sharing, click up there on enhancement 2 and you can make the change right there.
Oops. Sorry, where?
The middle tab.
A new share?
No, in the window that you're sharing with us, you're in the rightmost tab click on the one that's 2 to the left.
She may have it in share the tab only, could be part of.
Okay.
So you're not being able to see my screen right now?
We
all
only
we
see your
is the local
PHP admin.
screen.
Oh. Oh, okay. But now you can see it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so go to overview.
What we're seeing is a screen that says you've been away, you need to log in.
Oh no. Dang it. That's so weird. Really?
Why don't you just stop sharing and then start sharing again with the other window that you've got?
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
It's very specific in how it shares sometimes.
Yeah. For real. Okay, so what are you able to see right now?
Well, we're just looking at you now because you closed the window that you were sharing.
And that's okay. I'm just gonna go with my desktop and that's gonna work. Hopefully. Why is it not work? Okay.
There you go. You're good.
Yeah. Ah, okay.
Just a step somewhere.
Okay, so just go to the overview
Mm-hmm.
and then it says create a local database.
Right.
So you click there. And at first I didn't notice it, but one of our team members helped me figure this out. But you don't only need to create your user, right? But you're going to create
Right.
this local database. So it's very simple. You can either read this or watch the video right here that says creating a table from scratch, and that's
Right.
going to guide you on how to build this.
Right. The table from scratch is the directions for building the client's table.
Mhm.
Okay.
And that's how I got mine
Okay.
here. Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll have to go back and look over that again. Were there specific, is that what the chart is of specific values that are supposed to be in that client one?
Yes.
Oh, I
Yes.
see it. I see it on the right. Okay. I will go back and do that.
And that's, yeah, we need that clients for number 1 and 2, right?
Well, that's why I was looking at them and I'm like, I'm not seeing the right one. Okay.
Yeah.
So does that help, Daniela?
That does help. Can we go over 4 as well? Because, yeah, number 3, and then use an inner join to select the inv name field from the inventory table. Okay. Use an inner join to select the inventory name field from the inventory table and the category name field from the categories table for inventory items that belong to the miscellaneous category. So I can go and look for myself to these sources and stuff, but
Mhm.
what is the instruction asking for?
Basically, the inventory table
Mm-hmm.
are all of the items that the website is going to offer for sale. And every item is connected to a category, right? So if we were to go out to Amazon, for example, and we go shopping and we say, show me all of your women's shoes, that would be the category. And then all of the shoes that it show us would be the inventory items. So this query is saying, give me the miscellaneous category name and then show me the name of every inventory item that belongs to that category. That's all it's doing. And all I want is the names. So in one column, it will say MISC, because that's the name of the category. And in the other column that it gives you back will be the names of all the items that belong to the miscellaneous category.
Oh, okay. So you want to grab from that inventory category, inventory table, you want to grab a specific, no, from the category table, you want to grab the specific, that specific category, miscellaneous category, and you want to have all of the items from the inventory table that belong to that miscellaneous category.
That's correct.
Okay. So when we go to, for example, like the local host here, and we're gonna create our code in SQL, right?
Correct.
And when we push go, it should show us the table, because I guess I was having a hard time knowing how to visualize what I'm doing and see if it's what I want. So where would we be able to see that we're doing it right?
Well, based on what you already have right there, let's make a simple change to this sample query, just so we can see what something looks like. So in this case, instead of selecting everything from inventory, let's change the query. So get rid of the asterisks, and we're just going to get two fields. So one of them is INV name, comma, and the other one is category ID, and the I is a capital. And I don't, maybe your screen has already typed this. What I'm looking at hasn't updated. There you go.
Yeah, the internet is a little bit slow.
Okay, and then in this case, we don't want it to be limited to just one, right? We want to have everything that belongs to miscellaneous. So in the where clause,
We want category ID 4, right?
Yeah.
Category ID equals 4.
there you go. So get rid of the one and type category ID equals 4. And now click go. And you'll notice that in this particular instance, we only got one result.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The problem with what we just did is category ID is just a number. That really doesn't tell us anything. So query number 4, instead of showing us a number, it would find the relationship between the two tables, and it would actually get the category name out of the other two and show us the actual category name instead of this number.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oops.
All right. So in the course of this conversation, have other questions come to your mind that you'd like to talk about? And that's kind of a general statement for any of you.
So for the number 5 seems just easy just to delete and know how to use the delete statement. But for the video, running all of the SQL statements. Okay, so for the video, we need to just type our first code and see like this is how it works, and it should work, and we should do that for all 5 of them.
That's right.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, I think those are my only questions.
Great. Janae or Lisa?
So I'm backing up to the beginning because I haven't actually started this assignment yet. Just making sure I'm understanding the formatting of where to store everything. So we make a SQL folder on PHP admin that goes in
No.
that's on NetBeans.
Right.
Okay. That's where I was trying to make sure. And then we're going to make just a text file in like Notepad or something to store the statements that we're writing.
That'll work, or you can create it right in NetBeans. If you go back and look at the week 3 overview video that I made available last Saturday, I actually walk through all of this and demo it.
I must have brain turned off. Okay, I'll go back and look at it again.
Yeah.
I've amped up all my classes and I haven't taken this many classes in a long time, so my brain's on overload at the moment.
Completely understandable.
So one thing that I struggle with when I was working on the same thing as you, Lisa, was I couldn't see on NetBeans, and maybe I think I saw the video, I watched the video, I don't remember, but I tried to create this .txt file in my folder, but there's not an option as far as I know of. So I just went to my file manager and wherever your htdocs is,
Mm-hmm.
and I just created one there. So
Okay, I did it using other and then just did a blank and empty file and then.
That's exactly right.
okay. Yeah, I guess. Yep, SQL and enhancement.
Okay, so then we test all of our statements in PHP admin like we just did with that number 4. And then when we find that they work, we copy and paste those into the text file on NetBeans.
That's right.
Okay. But the video that we take should be running on my admin?
Correct.
Would that, okay.
Mm-hmm. And we should post a link to our video in our, like we did last week, right?
Yep. And that's a pattern that we will follow every single week.
Okay. And for I didn't see if there's any requirements to reply to posts about the presentations. So are we supposed to watch at least 2 of the teaching presentations, or how does that work?
I would hope that you would watch all of them.
Okay.
And that's why we do the teaching presentations, to give people an opportunity to, 1, learn for themselves how to do it, and then 2, to share it with everyone else to benefit everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And by posting back, something, it gives the developer some feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be elaborate, right? It can be something as simple as thank you. But obviously, if they shared something with you that you've never seen before that you really liked, then tell them that.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. It was very helpful.
Good. I'm glad. And that's what I hope these live meetings do, is give us an opportunity to interact and share and benefit each other.
Yep.
So any other items that you'd like to talk about?
No, I was reading over the PDO connection and my brain started to give out, but I just need to go back and watch the video because that wasn't kind of meshing in my brain. But I'm sure watching the video as a visual learner that will change, I hope.
Okay. And you know, that's one of the reasons why I try to have at least one video in everything.
It's super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very well structured. That makes online classes a lot easier for everyone. And one thing I was going to mention, Lisa, about that PDO, don't forget to call the function at the end of your function so it kind of works. I was forgetting that and it wasn't working for me. So
Okay.
that's important.
Good.
Yep.
All right. Well, if we're out of questions, then at that point, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. And I encourage you to, you know, eat the elephant one bite at a time. Don't try to eat it all in one setting. And
It doesn't work out well, I promise.
It really doesn't. Try to doing that all on one day or whatever else. So take your time, work on it consistently, and I think it will really pay big dividends.
Thank you, Brother Robertson.
You're welcome. All right.
Thank you.
Well, have a nice evening, what's left of it, and keep working hard.
Will do.
All right.
Bye.
Good night.